Hey, what's up, guys? I kind of wanted to talk to you about things that would upset people, maybe kind of tick them off a little bit, agitate them, and that's historical accuracies and lore when it comes to film, video games, novels, uh, you know, all across the multimedia board. There, I know me being a lover of history, if I see something that just doesn't fit, and I understand, when you're watching a movie, you have to kind of suspend your rationality and disbelief and just kind of go with it. That's how you enjoy films. You don't take it too literal unless it's like an autobiography about someone or like a movie about the Holocaust or something. Then you take it serious. But, other than that, movie's a movie. I totally get that. But when you're trying to portray a character that exists, that is real, and we have, a lot of information about the guy and what he looks like. For example, let's say we do a movie about Rome, right? And the guy is, Caesar. We'll do Caesar. We all know what Caesar looks like. His whole affair with Cleopatra, and how he was stabbed a lot of times by his friends. So we all know that. Now let's just say there's a Caesar movie about Rome and all that stuff. Uh, Caesar's casted by I don't know, an alien. And it's like, well, wait a minute. First of all, what's an alien? Like, even though this could be like the greatest acting alien, we know. Let's see. Why would you want to mess with the image? You know what I mean? People already perceive and expect what this guy to look like. Um, Maybe just because I'm like into history and stuff. So like I said, that would bother me. Maybe not a lot of people. I mean, like, I would love to take a crack at a historical movie, write it maybe. But I would, also I love horror, so I would definitely interject that in there. But I wouldn't mess with it to where it's like Fantasyland. Yeah, zombies probably didn't exist in medieval Byzantium, but it's not to say it would make a great film or something like that. Whatever, zombies attacking Rome, or real life vampires in Romania. I don't know, but when it comes to people that we know we can recognize, you know, through like searching on Google and stuff, when you mess with the accuracy of things, just and kind of be too creative. You could be creative, it's your movie. You could do whatever you want, but you start losing people who expect a certain kind of format. It's like I said, it's good. It's good to be off scripted, but you want to kind of stay true. That's like if, for example, I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt, right? So let's say if like Darth Vader was recasted in another Star Wars film, but he looked like, I don't know, a stormtrooper or something. Like he looked like someone that wouldn't normally look like Darth Vader. You know what Vader's look like. He has a, like almost like a cult following. But if he, recast it and he doesn't look like that or sound like that, people are gonna have a problem with that. So, I mean, sometimes I give a lot of credit. Um, Movies like Gladiator, Troy. I mean, well, so there was like a BBC, the British Broadcasting Network. They did like a TV movie. It was actually done really well, but you know, the guy who they casted for him, Achilles, isn't someone you wouldn't necessarily be like, oh, that's Achilles. We already know what Achilles would look like, or just by historical images or statues. We could, common sense, make it. And I mean, yeah, sure, you could be, liberal and twist it around a little bit, but when you go to the extreme, you're like it loses its flavor. You know what I mean? The try to believe the film a little bit, trying to dive in. I feel like there's a distraction there. Anyway, like I said, it's not that big of a deal, but to some people, especially when it's regard to like historical stuff that's been written down, proven by scientists or whatever the cause, if it's real and we have factual proof, I would definitely incorporate that. And if I'm doing a movie based on a historical character, I would do my best to try and get it as close as possible. Now, give it a lot of historical stuff tends to be pretty boring, and a lot of people. I mean, if you were verbatim in a historical story, you would lose your audience like that because there's no action. It's not, I mean, there's descriptions, but it wouldn't translate well. So you gotta exaggerate it, and that's good. But I always strive, try and incorporate some truth, some imagery that's based off of actual things. And you can't go wrong, you know. You can interject stuff, but you can't take away and remold it and then put it back and say, all right, this is real, you know. I don't know, that's my 2 cents. But if you're going to do something based on a historical, factual figure, whether it be a person, place, or thing, you could use a creative sense to an extent, but make sure it does reflect the original character, time, place, whatever that you want it to come to life. Like I said, just my opinion. You could make Bugs Bunny the next Terminator. Whatever. But historical accuracy, I think, is important. Even if you don't follow it 100%, but if you definitely kind of just tweak it enough, where it does reflect your personal vision, but doesn't, insult the historical accuracies. So, and another thing I noticed a lot. This is why I think to this day they have a hard time conveying a video game into a movie. So you take a video game, the characters, the plot, and translate that to another medium like film. They have a really, really hard time. I'm trying to think of a really good video game turned movie, and I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I love Super Mario Brothers, but we all know that, I mean, I think it was like a box office bomb or something, but still, I don't know. Like I said, you watch that for fun. That's not to be taken seriously, you know. But, people get really bothered when you mess with the lore of a video game or a novel. Like, Game of Thrones, I think, got a pass because you had the author work on the series until the very end. And or like Vikings, for example, they used a lot of reference material from the sagas of Ragnar, and it worked. Sure, you could have a little bit creative, liberty, but you know, but when it comes to something that's already has a blueprint, why not follow it? Interject a little bit here and there and make it somewhat original, but you want to keep the base pretty much, and then build on that. Great video game series, Metal Gear Solid, right? All of them. Not all of them were perfect, but the ones that included the main characters or clones or just resembled the original cast of Metal Gear, and all its enemies and the people that came after that. It's iconic. Like, I'm sorry, if you were to cast Snake, the character, like if you were to bring, well, first of all, if you were to bring Metal Gear Solid to the big screen, that's the challenger. But if you but if you mess with the main character, you might run into some problems. So like I say, you gotta be really careful. It's really risky. I haven't seen it done proper. I mean, like, I got excited for, like, Doom when that came out with The Rock, and that was like, oh my god, But, it was fun. Resident Evil, I mean, like, I enjoyed the series, but it touched on the game just enough so you could pick out familiar things, but the stories, the arc itself was totally the director's vision. Well, that's good, and works on film, but the video game audience was like, they probably felt cheated. There's a new Resident Evil that, is almost, almost has it. There's, it's going to focus more on the horror. I've seen a lot of Easter eggs and throwbacks to the video games, which is always a plus. The character's appearance might seem a little off, but whatever, like I said, it's going to bother some people. It's like I said, it's really, really hard. Trying to isn't like I'll go back to novels. So when Stephen King finally got to see Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, he wasn't too happy. It kind of diverted a little bit from the book. Now authors treat their novels and their books like little babies. So when you bring that to the big screen, it could be a hit or miss. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't translate well. Like it it really depends. It's really hit or miss. But yeah, you got to be really careful, especially if you want to bring something, you know, that came from another source, another medium, to the big screen. You got to think, okay, how will this translate? How can I captivate the audience? Bring that same audience that loved the game, that they're gonna love the movie, and make it entertaining and not boring. So I think it's one of the hardest kind of transitions, because sometimes it doesn't convey as well as you expected, and you run into a lot of problems. But at the end of the day, a director or someone who creates content that wants to have a baseline of something original and then build on it, but not change it to where it's like completely alien again, but to still retain the original idea of something, of someone else's work, and then just kind of sprinkle a little bit of your 2 cents, but not enough to lose the audience. So that's it. Like I said, when it comes to historical accuracy, especially when it comes to actual events, you gotta kind of get it close enough to where it's recognizable and not completely in left field. And that same it goes with video games and books. When you take the video game to a movie, sometimes it doesn't translate well, and I think that's kind of been the deal for a while now. Sometimes you have it almost there, but not quite. So, like I said, a hard task, but I do appreciate the content we get. And maybe one day we will get that Metal Gear Solid movie. If you guys have any idea what the heck I'm talking about, Metal Gear Solid, please do yourself a favor. For those who don't know what it is, look it up. Like tactical, total espionage action. That's all I gotta say. It's fun, whatever. Definitely movie worthy. Felt like playing a movie, actually. But yeah, now at this point I'm just rambling. But yeah, like I said, if I were to write something that is based in history, whatever, maybe include some characters from that time period, and get them, as likely and believable as possible, but also interject my ideas, but just enough to where people can recognize, oh, that's so and so's work, but I appreciate everything around it would have actually fit. You know what I mean? So that's just my thoughts on that. So yeah, thanks for listening, and if you want to chime in, let me know what you think. You think there should be some kind of evenness between originality and lore and historical accuracy, or should you just go completely nuts, or not at all, when it comes to creating content, or bringing someone else's content to a different medium? All right. Well, hope you're all healthy and sane. We'll talk to you very, very soon. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Peace.